Hello, folks. So today we're going to be talking about a very simple topic here. We're going to be talking about Black Ops 1. We're going to be talking about the primary weapons specifically. And so S tier is going to be weapons that excel in every possible regard within their niche area. These weapons are just head and shoulders above the rest for what they do in particular. A are going to be weapons that excel over most weapons, but aren't super amazing at all things. They're pretty well rounded, maybe, or maybe they do one thing particularly well while having some downsides. B tier is going to be weapons that are good. They're not great, but they're not terrible. They're definitely better than okay. C tier is going to be weapons that are okay. They're usable. They're not the worst, but they're not the greatest. And F tier are going to be weapons that are terrible. Now, this is not shitting on you as a player. This is not saying you're a bad player just because you use a particular weapon. There are only really specific weapons that I would say that would actually make you a bad player. That being said, if you use an F tier weapon, you're probably more than likely somebody who's really good at the game who just wants to style on people. And for a great example of that, the high standard 10 is a terrible shotgun. If you see somebody with this weapon and they're at the top of the scoreboard, please do yourself a favor and get out of that lobby. They are better than you in every possible way. I speak from a first-hand experience. If I pull this weapon out, it's because I know I'm better than you and I want to clown on you, and there is no alternative. This is a weapon for those who are good at the game, because this weapon is terrible. It's terrible in game. It's terrible in real life. High Standard 10 is the weapon model made by High Standard themselves. It was made for police work with a flashlight that almost never works, a polymer body that likes to fall apart, a heavy steel receiver that is awkward, and just like in-game, in real life, it only holds 4 rounds. Yes, it's semi-auto, but that semi-auto likes to jam on itself. This weapon has actively cut users. And, well, it's just an all-around terrible weapon. You can go see any video, even including Brandon Herrera's video on the HS10, to just find out how awful it is. Now, we have a weapon that is versatile, and this weapon actually is S tier. The AK-47 in Black Ops 1 is an S tier, not because it excels at any one particular thing, actually because it's a jack of all trades. It has great reload speed, great aim down sight speed, a time to kill that is incredibly consistent. At most ranges, it's going to be 3 to the body to put somebody in the dirt. It can get up to 5, but it's only at really incredible like sniper rifle distance. The sights on it are really good. The recoil is extremely low. It has a wide variety of attachments. You can do multiple different setups. It is a great candidate for Warlord if you want to do 2 attachments so that you can spread your versatility even further. It just does everything really well. It does not excel in one in particular thing, but its wide versatility gives your class a wide level of consistency. This weapon is entirely shaped by its perks and attachments. You can really do anything with it, but then not be afraid to branch out and try to do 2 or 3 different things at the same time. Now, an A tier weapon here is going to be the AUG. The AUG is an A tier weapon because it has an incredibly fast fire rate. It's one of the fastest in the game. The fast fire rates are right around 937.5 RPM. This gun has that. This gun does not get rapid fire, but what it lacks in rapid fire, it makes up for in a lack of recoil, a really clear sight picture, It has all of your standard attachments. It does have a unique AUG scope. That AUG scope is functionally the same as any other AUG scope. It's just an all-around great weapon. It has a great aim-down sight speed. It has a slightly slower reload, but it's not a problem. Sleight of hand can fix that. And with Sleight of Hand Pro, you're just super sprightly. This is a very sprightly gun. It typically kills in 4 body shots, 5 at range, which actually makes it better than everybody's favorite assault rifle, the FAMAS. The FAMAS is a gun that people unlocked at level 7. Whoops, I put it in the wrong spot. The FAMAS is a gun that everybody locked at level 7, and they never bothered to try any of the much better weapons. It is a nerd weapon. It is the nerd meta. People camp in corners with it. They use it terribly. This thing likes to run out of ammo for no apparent reason. Now, this gun has the same fire rate as the AUG, but it does not have the same level of accuracy. It has a worse hip fire spread, and it also takes more bullets to kill. At close range, 4 bullets. At mid-range, 5. At higher range, 6. And at long range, 7. Headshots do not matter on the FAMAS. The FAMAS is just a spray and pray weapon. Does terrible at range, does terrible at everything. It's really just an inferior version of the AUG. Everybody uses it because they swear by it, but the problem is it's functionally identical to AUG, but slightly worse in most regards and 100% worse in 3 particular regards. Same sight picture. The advantage is that it's quick and easy to unlock. Now, I've noticed that people put suppressors on it. I guess you might as well, but if you put a suppressor on this, it's going to take 7 shots to kill at most ranges, which makes it even worse. The other one that people put on is extended mags, and yes, you get 50% more rounds in the magazine, but you also lose 50% of your overall ammunition. I never see people run scavenger, and what I usually see is a noob tube and these guys camping in a corner because functionally they don't have the ammo supply to actually play the game. So it's a noob trap. People who fall in this trap, they never get out of it. The AK-70 G4U, you can notice that I'm very unfond of it. It's the only SMG that can get a grenade launcher, which is already a noob tube problem. This weapon does kill in 3 hits to the body at close range, but very quickly drops off to 5 at long range. The sight picture is really good on it. It gets rapid fire, which actually bumps it above the FAMAS in terms of overall time to kill. You know, it's a very high recoil weapon, and you know, even though it has a really good hip fire accuracy, the hip fire recoil itself is not very good. This weapon is all over the place, and the people who use it are usually all over the place in terms of just using a weapon in general. A lot of people will put a suppressor on the sucker on this weird idea that that's somehow gonna help them. It's not a great candidate for the suppressor. Its damage immediately drops off to a 5-hit kill at most ranges, and it just doesn't really have the same amount of fire rate to make the suppressor viable. It also doesn't have the damage consistency. A much better SMG is the Spectre. The Spectre is a great candidate for the suppressor because its overall performance in terms of damage is consistent. You're killing in 4 shots at most ranges. At higher ranges, 5. It has a much faster fire rate than the AK-74U. With that in mind, it comes with a wide variety of attachments. It has, you know, your typical magazine size. It's an all-around good weapon. It has light recoil. It has a very clear sight picture. The hip fire is excellent on it. This is an excellent weapon. The only thing that this weapon's not going to do is get a high headshot damage modifier. And the only other thing it's not going to do is it's not going to outcompete assault rifles in assault rifle range. Another weapon that's really good that's kind of like it is the Commando. The Commando has the problem that it's slower to kill because it has a slightly slower fire rate of right around 850. That is a very blink and you'll barely notice it difference. This gun does kill in 4 body shots, which actually has a consistent range of damage, only dropping off at the long ranges to 6. It is a good weapon. It has a very sprightly reload. Aim down sights is a little bit slower, but your sprint to fire time is a little bit higher. This weapon, just very versatile, does it all, but it is an inferior version of the AK-47. It is extremely versatile, but it's not quite A tier. It's good, but it's not great. Now, when it comes to snipers, this is the base sniper. It's unlocked. I see people slap an ACOG scope on it, and I see people deal with a really difficult idle sway, and, well, they miss most of their shots. It's very rare that I ever get killed by this weapon. It's kind of sad. It's really not good. This gun just fails in every regard compared to other sniper rifles. It is the worst of its category, but it's still a fairly usable weapon. It's a lot more usable than, say, the HS-10, or more usable than, say, the Enfield. The Enfield has a slower fire rate. It has a slower time to kill. The only thing it can do well is hip fire. This gun, it's the first automatic assault rifle you unlock, but it's just inferior in just every possible way. It's not a good assault rifle. This assault rifle is inferior to every other SMG, and it's inferior to every other assault rifle. It has a really clear sight picture, but that's about it. If you're struggling to use a gun, I guess you can use this. It's not the greatest. The Enfield is a fantastic weapon, killing in just 2 bullets. Yes, it's semi-auto, and a lot of players struggle with that, but for the players that don't struggle with it, they will find that 3-hit kill, or that 2-hit kill is really consistent up to higher mid-range. At long range, it is a 3-hit kill. The only thing this guy has is it's not as good as hipfire at the M14, but it has a hell of a lot less recoil. It has more ammo, and, well, it's just an all-around more usable weapon than the M14 within its desired range, which is about lower middle range. This gun had to be nerfed. The G11, made by Heckler & Co., uses caseless exploding ammunition. This was a prototype that, you know, at the fall of the Soviet Union, they realized they didn't need it anymore. They put, you know, the schematics for it in storage. The schematics got water damaged. Then they, you know, got destroyed in a fire. Unfortunately, we will never see this gun in real life. It holds 48 rounds. It consistently 1-bursts people. 2 bursts might be more consistent. It has a really good time to kill, but this gun does not want people to get close to it. If somebody does get close to you, if you do not land that 1 burst, you're probably going to lose that gun battle. If you can consistently land that 1 burst, on the other hand, you will just straight up delete people. This gun annoys the hell out of people, and it's the thinking man's gun. It's great paired with, you know, a pistol or something. It's 48 rounds is awesome. Its hip fire accuracy is awesome. Its handling is a little bit on the slower side, but that's not a problem. It's just a superior version of the M16 in every possible way. The only downside is the lack of attachments. You can only get a scope attachment. The Galil is a fantastic weapon. It has a moderate fire rate of right around 875 rounds per minute. It holds 35 rounds with extended mags. It brings it up to 50 if you want to use that. 35 rounds in most gunfights is actually good enough, especially with the slightly slower fire rate. This gun just extremely versatile. It has a great damage performance. It's killing most people in 3 bullets at most ranges. It's an extremely consistent gun. There are only a few guns in the game that really beat it out. It has a clear sight picture. It's a great candidate for suppressor. There's not a lot of bad things to say about the gun, except for one small thing, and that is if somebody is close enough that you have to hip fire them. This gun is usable as hip fire, but you're going to lose that fight. It would be much better to swap to a pistol than to try and hip fire. This gun does extremely well overall. Now, I hate to shit on this gun, but realistically, this is the worst the worst LMG in its class. The Heckler & Co. 21, it's basically a G3 version of, a squad automatic version of the G3. It wants to be a good gun, but that sight picture is terrible, and it only has, just a 30-round magazine. If it had a 45-round magazine, it would be forgivable. If you put extended mags, it does get bumped up to 60, but then you don't have, a good sight picture. This gun, it doesn't hip fire very well, and aiming down sights is just agony. This gun reloads extremely slow, handles slow. Its damage is really consistent, but it's not a good gun. This gun really struggles against any of its peers, and it struggles against its competitors. It wants to be an assault rifle, but it fails as an assault rifle. It wants to be, a LMG, but it fails as an LMG. This gun can punch through walls really well, but, so can the Kiparus. The Kiparus trades off a higher visual recoil for the ability to punch through walls. This gun can get rapid fire, so it can be one of the fastest killing guns in the game. That being said, it does only have a 20-round magazine. That can be a little frustrating. It is a great dual-wield candidate, as it actually has a really good hip-fire spread. Reloads are sprightly. They're not too slow, but they're not too fast. They aren't the fastest in the SMG category, but they are extremely tolerable. Sleight of hand is honestly recommended, and the difference between steady aim and sleight of hand hip firing, I would recommend Sleight of Hand Pro any day over that. This gun punches through walls and is a great candidate for Hacker Pro because of that higher penetration. So if you want to pop somebody's claymore with this guy will do it. Or if you want to hose somebody through a wall, again, this gun will do it. If you want to hit somebody through two walls, which is a little funny, you can actually. Hardened and this gun are great pairings. This gun just pairs well with a lot of different perks. It's actually very versatile. And, as far as fighting assault rifles, it has a higher visual recoil, but its damage and consistent performance means, at the middle range, you might be able to win against an assault rifle if you have the jump on somebody. This is definitely an S tier weapon. In fact, often when I'm making a stealth class, I find it difficult to pick between the Kiparus and the AK-47. For the history of this gun is kind of like the Soviet version of the G11. It was experimental at the fall of the Soviet Union. After the fall of the Soviet Union, it actually did make it to production as a police weapon. However, by the time it came out, the weapon was just already obsolete. It's a very simple SMG. It's just, a blowback SMG. Nothing to talk about there. Really simple gun. Sad history, because at the time that it was supposed to come out, it would have been revolutionary. But at the time it did come out, it was already obsolete. And it's just small 20-year difference there. It's not like the case with the Spectre, where the Spectre was literally actually better than the MP5, but couldn't make it to market because everybody had just bought a bunch of MP5s. The Spectre, unfortunately, you're never going to see it. You're never going to get it. The company went bankrupt. The company that makes them now They make a pistol version, and in pistol form, there's no reason to use this gun. The Kypris, on the other hand, it's obsolete. It was meant to be within its decade, and it didn't make it into its decade. Now, this sniper rifle is fantastic as far as sniper rifles go. This will kill from the waist up. I have seen people use this like a shotgun. It is not an easy weapon to use, but that's because it's a sniper rifle. Sniper rifles got nerfed hard in this game because they were a little overpowered in Modern Warfare 2, and they did not want that for Black Ops 1. This sniper rifle, really good weapon IRL. It's the op in CSGO. Just all around consistent performance. This gun does it all. If you use the suppressor on it, however, at longer ranges, you might require a neck shot or headshot to, pop somebody in the ground. But it's not too much of a problem. It does get a slight bonus to overall fire rate with sleight of hand because it's a bolt action weapon. It's a pretty good sniper rifle. I never was good at sniping in Black Ops 1, but for those that are, this is like the go-to. This is the goated, like, all-time favorite for everybody. Now, this one's a little controversial because the people who really love the M14 really love the M14, and I just want to say right now, I prefer the M14 to the FAL. Okay, I really do. But I will not ignore its flaws. It has a high visual recoil. It does get a bonus damage to headshots. In fact, at some ranges, it can even get a one tap if you're really good. It has a better hip fire than the FAL, but it has a lack of ammo. Attachments are pretty standard, but the sight picture is clear enough that you really don't need to be using a scope on this. That being said, I would recommend some, like quick mags just for the 50% bonus in ammo. It's a good gun, especially if you just want to, go for lower tier streaks. Suppressor is not recommended, but you could totally make that work as well. The M14 is fantastic, but unfortunately, just like in real life, the M16 is better. For everything that I want from the M14, I would just prefer to use the M16. The M16 is an inferior version of the G11, but it can one-burst people. If you can master the hipfire, you will delete FAMAS nerds, you will hit campers. It does punch through walls. It doesn't lose very much damage through walls. It's an extremely versatile weapon. It's just most people do not like that hipfire. The M16 is great at any range. Close range, I still recommend pulling out a pistol before trying to fight with this. You can make up for that in skill, but that could really be said about any weapon here. Comes with your standard attachments. The biggest problem with this gun is it's so versatile, and it's not as versatile just because it's not automatic, but it's so versatile that there's not really a good attachment to throw on this guy. You can really throw anything on that you want, but I kind of wish this gun had some kind of unique attachment to go with it, because like it wants to do something, anything, but every attachment only enhances it by a little bit. I think the thing that would have really enhanced this gun is if you could have equipped a grip or a shorter barrel to aim down sight faster. Like, that's about it. That's the only thing that I just wish it had that. Now, the Mac 11 is a great weapon, but at 20 rounds of mag, it is extremely difficult to make it work, even though it has a fast fire rate equal to the FAMAS. It has lower recoil. It has, about the same performance as the AUG in terms of damage. That 20 round mag really kind of neuters the gun. The SMG range is typical for this gun, so it's not going to be outperforming the AUG at distance. This gun, however, is a great candidate for suppressor if you can manage your ammo really well. Scavenger is extremely recommended, even though I use lightweight like a chump. This gun, it's really good, and people like, oh, it has a lot of recoil, but in reality, It doesn't. It does not have a lot of recoil. It just fires pretty damn quick. People are expecting the Mach 10 in terms of, fire rate, I guess. If you aim down sights, the recoil practically disappears. If you use grip, recoil's non-existent, as well, it recenters very quickly. This gun, you're not going to be fighting more than one opponent at a time, so you do have to pick and choose. Real shame that it has only a 20 round mag, because it could have been something epic. Now, the MP5 is a fantastic starting weapon. I'm glad they give players this, because it kind of opens players up to using it. I've seen people put gold on it and only use the MP5. This is like the only gun they want to use. The MP5 does have a slower fire rate than most SMGs, even slower than the AK-74U, but what it does have is a very consistent 3-hit kill, even at higher mid-range. At long range, it drops off to 4, but if you can manage to mix in one headshot, well, it goes back down to 3. This gun, a lot of people like to put a scope on it because on the first shot it bounces to the left before bouncing to the right. So typically your first bullet will bounce to the left, and then the next bullet will be kind of center, and then it will be kind of right, and that recoil kind of throws people off. They're not expecting it. With the slower fire rate, however, if you anticipate that, you're not going to have a problem. This gun will 3-burst people. It's actually kind of funny. But the thing this gun does that makes it S tier is it has a tighter hip fire spread than most SMGs. And if you put on steady aim, you can just hip fire anybody even out to like long range. This gun's ridiculous. Attachment wise, I like to use extended mags for a 45 rounder. Have I killed 15 people in a row with this gun? No, but I have killed 10 people in a row with it, just hip firing it. It's an all-around good SMG. If you want to aim down sights, yes, you can. It's just when you enter a gunfight, make sure you hip fire before you aim down sights. If you can remember that, you can demolish people. I've seen people absolutely dominate entire lobbies with the MP5. Now, in the same regard, the one gun that kind of outperforms the MP5 in every regard is the one gun that likes to aim down sights no matter what. The MPL has a very quick time to aim down sights, has a very quick sprint out time. It can hip fire, but if you aim down sights, you can fight anybody at any range. It has your typical damage profile of an SMG, requiring 4 hits to kill at an extreme close range. In the range of knifing distance, this gun can then get a 3-hit kill, but only if you mix in a headshot. This gun is really good. It's extremely fast fire rate. It actually fires just a little bit faster. We're talking like 939 rounds per minute. It's not much faster than, say, the FAMAS or any gun of its category, but it's noticeable. And then, rapid fire, it does do rapid fire, so you have that as well. It reloads extremely quickly as well. This gun is enhanced greatly by any of its attachments. I don't recommend any of the scopes, but suppressor, it's a great candidate for that as well. Extended mags, there's not a bad choice. I mean, quick mags are fantastic. Rapid fire works on it if you just want to delete people up close. It's a consistent gun as long as you can aim down sight. And funny, these guns are both German, by the way. They're both Heckler & Co. This gun just doesn't want to hip fire. It can be accurate as a hip fire, and maybe with steady aim, it would be manageable and you'd have a more versatile class. But I just prefer Sleight of Hand Pro on it, just because it does an aim down sight really well. And its 4-hit kill range is extremely consistent, and because of that, even with rapid fire and having more of a visual recoil, it's still extremely low recoil. You can fight people who have assault rifles or even LMGs. This gun is just unreasonably good as long as you aim down sights. The only time it loses is when somebody gets to jump on you and you can't aim down sights, or you just don't know where somebody is. Now, people are going to get mad, and I love using the Olympia. But the Olympia fails in almost every regard. Only having 2 bullets is kind of a problem. It does not have the most consistent one-shot kill. It's actually pretty inconsistent. Up close, it has a better spread, and maybe you can even kill 2 people in one shot. But, this gun also comes with no attachments. This gun is just kind of all-around Debbie Downer because I want it to be good. I want to say it's S tier, but it's not. This gun does style on people, and if you use this gun gets more style points than even the HS-10. It actually is a better gun. It's just you got to watch those reloads. It's definitely sleight of hand heavy. Now, hands down, the worst SMG of its category, the PM63, also nicknamed the Cancer because the guy who invented it was dying of cancer. The PM63 has a 20-round mag. It really does not benefit from any of its attachments. It's got a fast fire rate and it has a great accuracy when aimed down sights, but it aims down sights kind of slow. It reloads kind of slow. It has problems. It doesn't have a lot of range either. It's a bad gun. It's just objectively bad in every way. Like every other SMG has something going for it, and the PM63 has nothing. Now, this one's going to make people mad. This gun has a slightly more consistent one-hit kill than the Dragunov, but not by much. We're talking of range, of course. This gun, it's just a slightly better version of the Dragunov. I see people put, an ACOG scope on it because it doesn't have as much idle sway, but I still see people miss almost all of their shots. There's not a fucking reason to use it. The Walther 2000 is actually better. It's everything that the PSG-1 wants to be because it does all the same things, but it just does them slightly better. And, it has a slightly faster fire rate, and it's just a little more consistent at getting 2 hits. If you put a suppressor on it, it's a 3-hit machine, but, it's not too hard to get 3 hits with this gun, even with an ACOG. It has less idle sway than any of the sniper rifles. So it's a really good gun, but it's just not going to top, the L96A1 in any regard. This gun, if you want to use it like an assault rifle, this gun just does not do range very well. The RPK was the replacement for the RPD because the RPD failed in every possible regard. But the RPK is still an amazing LMG, even though it, the sight picture is really clear. The high visual recoil makes it difficult to fight at range. I don't have the problem, because I kind of try to tap the trigger. And that makes things a lot easier. It will kill faster than the FAMAS at most ranges. Up close, this gun likes to hip fire. It hip fires really well. It has a pretty damn quick reload speed. Extended mags are recommended on this gun. I like to use fast mags instead because I'm an idiot. 35 rounds is, 40 rounds is pretty nice in the base magazine. 60 with extended mags. It's a very versatile LMG, and it's an LMG that likes to outperform SMGs and even compete against assault rifles. It does that really well. However, I would not recommend it over most things around that kind of level area. You do get it pretty early on. Oh wow, I'm missing the M60. But, for that kind of level area, I actually do recommend the Scorpion. It's funny that the Scorpion's right there. The Scorpion at close range will outkill most guns. It'll outkill the FAMAS. It has a very similar fire rate. It has less recoil at range. You're looking at 3 to 4 hit. At extremely long range, yes, you're looking up to 6, but This gun, even despite its 20 round mag, it's just low recoil and clear sight pictures means that, yeah, you can even hip fire it and still hit people long distance. This gun's kind of ridiculous. You throw on rapid fire and you will kill faster than anything else in the game. This gun likes to put people in the dirt. There is just no question about it. If I had to put it on this list, I would put it as like the third best gun in the game, right behind the AK-47. This gun is extremely versatile because of its high damage and low recoil. Great candidate for the suppressor, but that does drop things down to 3-hit kill. It's just like, it wants to get the kill, and it will. And, if you run up on somebody, it'll outperform somebody. This is one of the only SMGs where it has a 20-round magazine, but realistically, you can fight 4 people and still win. I have absolutely wiped entire teams out and then ran right to their spawn to wipe them out and move them to the other spawn with this gun many times. It is a great little SMG, which is kind of funny because in real life it's considered anemic and not very good as an SMG. I mean, it was made to be a tank crew gun. This was made for if you had to abandon a tank and you couldn't carry a rifle, but you wanted something better than a pistol. Whether or not this gun's better than pistols is debatable because there's some really good pistols in this game, but still a really good SMG. The SPAS is C tier. It does not have a consistent one-hit kill. It's very inconsistent. It's a 2-tap machine. 3 taps. The suppressor is an extremely bad idea. If you're going to run Ghost, just run it without the suppressor because anybody that could fight back, they're going to die instantly. So there's no point in running a suppressor on it. Plus, the little red dot in the minimap can actually drag people towards you. Suppressor is a mistake on this gun. The amount of rounds in the chamber is really good, but just really inconsistent on ability to kill and ability to hit people at range. Anybody who's aware of you, who's actually fully aware of you with an SMG is probably going to demolish you. Anybody with an assault rifle is just going to be outside of your range, and anybody with an LMG is just going to peg you through a wall. This gun is like camper supreme. Campers gravitate towards this gun. It's actually kind of sad. It's a really neat gun, and you want it to be good, but it's not. The Olympia is better because it's more consistent in one-hit kills. It's more consistent in hip fire. This gun is only better than the HS-10 because it has more rounds. Suppressor is just a bad idea. This gun, if you want to be stealthy with a shotgun, like this is the gun to do it. Just do not use the suppressor. Do yourself a favor. Just trust me. As long as you're moving around. People get in the trap of using this gun and then camping, and then they wonder why their KD is like, fucking 0.01. It just use the stakeout. The stakeout is actually the most consistent one-hit kill of any shotgun. It only holds 6 rounds, and the grip does help mitigate the recoil a lot, especially because it's such a slow fire rate. But I mean, recoil is really not an issue, and the one-hit kills are so consistent that you're probably going to demolish most people. This is an excellent shotgun for the shotgun category. It's the best. It can outperform some SMGs if you get the drop on people. Shotguns are not particularly great in this game, but the stakeout is fun to use because it's better than people expect, and it makes people really salty. Now, the Uzi is not an F category. It has a fast fire rate. It has a decent hip fire. It has 32 round magazine, which if you equip extended mags gets bumped up to 48. So it also has a great magazine size. It's basically the Galil of the SMG category because it also has a consistent range. It will actually kill faster than the FAMAS because it does more damage per shot but has the same fire rate within its effective range. The aim down sights is what drags this gun down because the sight picture is horrendous. If you want to put an ACOG scope on this, you can, and you can be the funny meme guy. I actually kind of smile when people do that, especially if they have a gold one. It's just a great way of saying, hey, I'm better than you. But this gun is not more consistent than, say, the Spectre or the Mac. Those are both better options just because of the sight picture. Regardless, this is still a pretty damn decent gun. Now, this gun is the number one gun in the game. Okay, this is not a bias. This is just objectively the truth. The Stoner 63 will kill in 3 body shots at all ranges. Okay, it's easy to get headshots, but headshots don't matter. It doesn't get really a high headshot damage. It's only going to matter if somebody was like hit with a concussion, because if you hit somebody with a concussion, that actually does a little bit of damage. The Stoner 63 will then actually be able to hit headshot kill them. This gun's damage is incredibly consistent, but its fire rate is is the same as the FAMAS. This is the fastest killing gun in the game without rapid fire. This gun will fight you at ranges that even sniper rifles don't want to fight. This gun, it has a great magazine. With extended mags, you get it up to a nice flat 60. 60 rounds. Like, this gun will fight anybody at any range, no problem. The only thing is it's slightly sluggish, but it wants to be an assault rifle. So it's a lot faster than other LMGs. This gun, because of that, you can use an assault rifle. You can actually fight people in the SMG category. This gun just does not give a fuck. This gun will just do it all. The only thing this gun does not do is penetrate walls. I have tried to use hardened to try to hit people through walls. Even with hardened, you're still going to take like 5 bullets to kill somebody through a wall. Hardened doesn't really seem to make a difference. This gun just does not want to go through walls. And that is the only problem with this gun. Now, the last gun, I don't have the picture for it because somehow I forgot that one, is the M60. The M60 kills in 2 bullets, holds 100 rounds, has a chugging fire rate. The M60 I would put in B tier because it's not really A tier, even though it'll kill faster than most guns in the game and arguably can compete against even some of the better guns in that regard. It's definitely like the 4th best gun in the game, right above the G11 in terms of being able to put people in the dirt. Its recoil likes to kick left, right, left. And its slow fire rate means that if you miss one shot, your time to kill goes up massively. Yes, you can hip fire people. Yes, you can pop people. You do move incredibly slow with it. You move almost as slow as if you had the HK-21. You move almost as slow as if you had a rocket launcher out. It's a really good gun, but it depends. The gun does scare people, however. People hear that chug, 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 chug noise, and they immediately know you have an M60, and they immediately take cover. You start hosing people through walls, you start hosing people through cover. People like to run and hide, but the M60 will not let them hide. With extended mags, it gets 200 rounds. That's a stupid idea. The grip is much more effective. Sleight of hand is extremely recommended. It's an all-around fantastic weapon. It just deserves to be in B category because of the recoil, the low fire rate, and the other thing is its noise is distinctive, even though it's to its benefit that it's such a scary weapon to, these plebeian noobs, it's also, unfortunately, to its detriment. This is like the only LMG that I wish I could put a suppressor on it, because as soon as people hear that noise, people will go out of their way to flank you, target you, and you're just not fast enough to not have to deal with that. It is recommended, even though it has so much ammo, to use a pistol, because if you're not using a pistol to move around, you're a fucking sitting duck every time. The LMG is great for marathon. I in fact recommend marathon and lightweight, just to get from cover to cover as quickly as possible. Flat jacket is also great because everybody is going to start noob tubing you. The LMG paints a bullseye on your back, and that's what the M60 does. Okay, it paints a bullseye on your back. Everybody wants to target you. Everybody wants to avoid you. You are the fucking walking plague when you use the M60, and people will treat you like the walking plague. That being said, it's B tier just again because if you miss one shot, its time to kill goes way up. In terms of kills per death, I actually have the highest KD with the M60 than any other weapon. But I'm not going on extremely long streaks like I am with the Stoner 63. Again, because the gun makes me such a target that it's hard to survive beyond kill 8. With the Stoner 63, I've gone up to 11 kills and chastised myself for not having equipped dogs all the time. The M60, I get up to kill 8 and somebody's finally had enough of me, and that's when I get noob tubed 3 times in a row, hit by 4 flashbangs, and finally demolished by a fight I cannot win of 3 opponents hip firing and running up on me. Regardless, on the smaller maps, the M60 is in fact king, because, well, on small maps you don't have a lot of survivability anyways, so on Nuketown, if you just want to piss everybody off, just go ahead and whip out the M60. Without further ado, that is the end of the video. Thank you guys for watching. All these are not just based off of my experience, but they're also based off objectively just how the weapon performs. I know people are going to be kind of peeved that the FAMAS and the AK-74U are in C tier, but they actually are not great weapons, and I've gone over why. You have weapons that are superior, like the AUG, they're just like flat out better. The SMG category, the Spectre is flat out better. The MPL is better, the MP5 is better, the Kitburst is better, the Scorpion is better. The FAMAS, like the Commando, is just more versatile because of more consistent damage performance. The Stoner will absolutely delete you every single fucking time. The Stakeout is a nightmare. The RPK is, again, better. Like, there's just, and then you look at things like the Galil, and actually the Galil is even better than the AUG. The Galil almost made it into S tier just because of its very consistent damage profile mixed in with its high ammo capacity. 5 rounds doesn't sound like a lot, but when you're killing in 3 bullets, that's a whole extra kill per mag. And the people that I've seen drop like a 50 bomb kill streak in one game, they're using the Galil. They're not using a FAMAS, And sure, there's some shitty little nerd that can get, dogs with the FAMAS, who can't, but, again, like, if you use any of these, you can also probably do that, with the exceptions to the sniper rifles, because they're such a, pick and choose weapon. With any of these down here, you might have to struggle to get dogs, but hey, it's possible. I got dogs with the RPK, so, people are going to be salty about that. People are going to be salty about the SPAS. The SPAS is just, it's, let's see, actually, it's more like this. The SPAS is just, it's got a problem that its attachment is a detriment, and its it's a consistent 2-hit kill. One shots are possible, but they're extremely unlikely. So with that being said, that's my tier list on the best weapons. And honestly, if you guys have a problem with my tier list, well, what I have to say to you is this. I'm at the top of the scoreboard 90% of the time, okay? I'm at the top of the scoreboard more often than not. Even when my team loses, I'm still at the top of the scoreboard. I still play to this day, and sometimes even against hackers, I'm winning matches. Plus, I'm getting accused of being cheated, all the time. I ask yourself, with the FAMAS, when was the last time you were accused of cheating? If it was never, then, well, that kind of answers my question. So, without further ado, that is the end of the video, folks.